and thanks to the staff. And with that, it looks like berlindude1 is ready to go for this run of Tron Evolution All Collectibles. Berlindude, the stage is yours.
Good morning. My name is berlindude1, and we had any % new file before with the possibility and incentive to get all collectibles. So because of your donations, I will play this game slower. Thank you very much. I hope the couch can introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Jamacanbacn. I run Tron.
And rotflandmines.
Yeah. So yeah, because we have a really big delay already on the schedule, let's just start. Starting time for the timer. You can actually let the same time like any % new file. I think we were not breaking it anyway. So timer starts in the moment when the character gains control. That's very important. So just start the timer when you see me moving. Okay? Ready to go? Let's start the game. And here we go. Cutscene, we are just skipping the cutscene and all. About JB now. Enjoy the run. We start when our character who's showing right now up starts to move, and then...
Yeah, I'll let you know when.
Let's have some fun and some glitches.
Is being installed as system administrator. Together, she and Clue will shape our
So
system.
timing starts
Clue and I have stepped up
now.
system-wide.
Let's do it.
All right, so the start of the run here is going to begin into the tutorial of the game, which is kind of unfortunate because we already know how to play it, but I'll kind of guide you through how. So you're with Tron, you're an anonymous system monitor, also known as Anon. You're meeting Cora for the first time, Olivia Wilde from the sequel. And here, there's a few segments where it's going to freeze you in place to tell you how to play the game, but you can kind of run ahead of them. So here, you'll see there's like a bunch of text boxes at the bottom just kind of stacking on top of each other. And it's because we're actually running ahead of Cora. They don't really expect you to do that. There are ways to do this a little bit faster, but sometimes you just don't have luck and Cora just bodies you, so...
You actually want to always... Oh my god. You didn't want to do us the same thing. You actually want to do that you're blocking Cora, so you can actually pass her, but it's not always working, so it's just... There's a door incoming in the end, and if we are faster than Cora, we can actually pass it and not wait for the button what we have to activate. But yeah, it's just tutorial time. And like JB said, Cora, we are following, and now tutorial time.
There is actually a way to skip that door. It's happened in some other runs, but it's not very consistent. There is an out of bounds in the New Game Plus route, but due to all collectibles, it's not really viable, and it's also not really marathon friendly. So he's just gonna kind of go as fast as he can here. And there's the first collectible right there. Thanks for donating for that.
Yeah, so we are collecting all the Tron files, what are hidden in the game, and all the Abraxas shards. Abraxas is actually the bad guy, together with Clue. This game was tried to be pushed to push the movie Tron Legacy, came out a month before. And yeah, we are playing it, and let's have some fun with it. And this is the first fight tutorial.
Yeah, so there's a few like basic attacks. It's very similar to some other like hack and slash games. So you have like a left click, which is just kind of like a disc throw. You also have a punch. You kind of just want to use them in conjunction where it's convenient. Also, the targeting is a little weird in the game. You really only hit where you're looking, so sometimes you just have to kind of like freely move around to make sure your disc is going to land where it needs to be. You also notice in the HUD in the top left that there's his health bar as well as some empty spaces there. Those will actually be filled up soon. Those will be our energy tanks for some stronger attacks later.
Yeah, and here Clue in the background. Yeah, I don't know who's familiar with Tron, but there's Kevin Flynn, the program guy who made the grid, and Clue, his copy, who was doing the system. And we will find out that Clue is actually not as helpful as he was before.
And this actually takes place before the Tron sequel, Tron Legacy.
Yep.
So this is Abraxas. We'll be seeing him a lot this run. The tutorial here is mostly what you would consider an auto-scroller, but there's some animation cancels you'll see him doing. There's like some corrupted space on the ground. He'll tend to use that to cancel. And then there's these corrupted enemies here. And he's just using some more basic disc throws to take them out. And here's going to be animation canceling into the corrupted ground. The game just kind of tells you what to do here. Like it tells you to throw and then punch, and then you go to another sequence of more enemies. And here he's going to try to like hit them all at once. You don't always get it. Actually, because this is a new file, he can't do this quite as fast as you would be able to on something like New Game Plus, but that also requires kind of dealing with the AI a little bit more.
Yeah, and the game is just showing everything like blocking, attacking, different attacks. And when you're gone, you finally are free. You can finally play the game. And even if you want to try to jump out of the stage here, you cannot. Like you can go to the wall, to the side, and nothing happens. You're blocked. So invincible vault. We have a lot of invincible stuff in the whole game. You will see that later, especially with some skips. But yeah, for that later. Like I can try, nothing happens. I cannot go.
This is also like entirely on a different section of the map. Like it's a million miles out of range of where the initial tutorial was.
And now we get another cutscene, and now we are actually in the game and can do our stuff.
And Abraxas has definitely been defeated by that tutorial.
Correct. So, first chapter right now, and you will see a lot of Prince of Persia movement. JB will explain definitely some tricks.
Yeah, so you'll see him doing a lot of like jumping and then punching, or jumping and disc throwing. So that actually extends you a little bit further, as well as it's also a little bit faster depending on the scenario. You actually skip the text box there by doing it. And then here you can go for the swag throw. Oh, go for it again.
No, missed it. Okay, well.
So that actually was him consuming his special meter in the top left. That lets you throw whatever disc you have equipped. Right now he only has one disc, known as the heavy disc, or the, remind me the name here?
The heavy disc, sure.
Oh yeah, it is the heavy disc. And it's just the basic one. It actually is pretty strong, but you'll be able to see it more. Each disc has its own applications throughout different fights. This fight you can just kind of skip. You just jump on that object there and can run up. And there's actually the first Abraxas shard right there for all collectibles. So here he can actually do a grapple. We don't actually know what grapple is. The game hasn't taught us it, but it doesn't really matter. So he grappled towards those enemies. I guess he can show you again.
Yeah.
So the enemies are just in range to actually be able to grapple there. And you can grapple onto objects, you can grapple onto enemies. There's specific...
Why is this guy doing that?
Just don't punch, man.
Perhaps I should not punch. Let's do it on the normal way, easy, and that's it.
Normally that would save like an okay amount of time. Those enemies can also like really not play nice with you, and sometimes they'll just hit you off when you go to do that.
Yeah, you just saw a little bit the problem with this game. The camera actually is doing what it wants, and the character is doing what he wants. So it was not intentional to die twice, even if you think that I do that. But no.
So in that room was like the first button. There's this glitch known as button glitch. So right there, if you jump, the jump button and the activation button are bound to the same key. So if you jump, you can also activate. And there he's activating it, and it just kind of speeds it up because there's a small animation every time you try and activate a button.
And the game reminds us to use these charge disk stations to use our, what is it called, megabytes?
Yeah, well, they're upgrades, as well as every time you interact with them, they'll also refill all of your special meter.
Yeah. Yeah, we're just doing a lot of platforming before we are actually coming to a cutscene, what is also shown in the Tron Legacy movie.
So there's him using a heavy disc ground slam. You can do a normal, like, special attack, and you can do a ground slam attack. He'll be switching between that. But here's our like first major skip of the run. This is known as bunch of stuff skip because it just skips a bunch of stuff, dude. So here he's gonna run up against the wall and on top of this collision here. And the ceiling isn't actually there, and also the way it interacts with the camera, you can cause the map to deload and then reload it. And now he's reloaded it on the other side of that fight. It can be a little tricky because you can reload it incorrectly and it will actually just cause the enemies to die and it will put you back in the room on the next wave of enemies. So he did that perfectly. So great job to him.
Saves like, I think, 30 seconds or something if you do it correctly. Yeah, we will see a lot of kind of, you don't want to say it out of bounds, but like out of bounds tricks we're showing up. Skipping a lot of time just because of not using the normal way.
And there's doing a sprint special attack. With the heavy disc, it just kind of does like a little flower of discs. It's really effective, especially when they're grouped up like that. We'll also get some more discs later that will help with big groups of enemies. So here, Korra teaches you how to grapple, despite us already knowing how to do that.
We did that already. But now we know it.
There's specific points in the game where it will direct you to grapple, and you'll see those in the air.
Yeah. We also used, like later, a thing called grab a glitch that we are actually on purpose die with a power punch to use the grab a glitch.
So, to interrupt right here,
sure, please.
is stack 1 skip. This room actually has a lot of animations and just stuff you have to do in it, but we found out you can just jump to the end right there and punch, and you skip it entirely. Don't worry, there's more room skips coming up. There's plenty of them with plenty of stupid names.
We were thinking about these names actually. Who was actually the initiator?
So this is a stack 2 skip. If you line up just right with this wall, you can get the perfect.
That's fine.
It's really like. It's just not lenient with how the sprinting on the walls work in this game. Because you have to actually jump to this other wall from the sprint, and you just barely missed it. You'll actually get a ledge grab there.
Yeah, it's just a little bit precise, you know. That's good. That's okay. Now it should fail. Yeah.
Awesome. So that skips like a lot of extra little tutorial prompts. This entire level is mostly still a tutorial, despite us beating the tutorial.
I guess I have a question, actually. I noticed that the game kind of quick saves pretty frequently, and you can, restart from a point pretty much all the time. Is there any time where you, like, activate a checkpoint before you're supposed to get it, and then go back to the menu to...
Yeah, there's definitely some times. A lot of times it's, like, right when the checkpoint activates, you can just use it so you can restart. I don't think we really abuse, like, hitting a checkpoint like a death flag or anything like that.
Right.
Also, the game's introducing us to some extra enemies here. There's like a new shield enemy, and they want you to use your special attack on them, as opposed to, despite us using them on like almost every enemy because it's just really strong. You actually need to do it to take out their shields, and sometimes hitting them doesn't take out their shields for whatever reason.
Yeah, many of the Tron fights are actually on the way, but some are hidden later. But in the beginning, actually, the game is showing you all the collectibles, mostly. And now we are doing here a small skip instead of going
Cool
to the top.
swag jump.
Cool swag jump, okay. And now's the first time we actually upgrade our character. Since we start from 0, we are using our 8 megabyte to get the best what we can get. So some more specials and some more refill. And now we have the shield guides. Let's see if they're losing their shields. 2 of them do. He's not doing it.
And none of them died still.
And now they died all. Good. Not bad. Yeah, now we come to the Daft Punk song, Dearest. And have the first spikes.
There's also a small collectible here, I believe.
Mm-hmm. There.
Yep, it's very easy to miss. This is just a straightaway through the rest of the level, but you get to enjoy Daft Punk. Maybe if you want to read some donations.
Absolutely, although this song is really, really good. We have $50 from D.A. Guest, Flynn Lives literally finished this game casually this past weekend. Huge Tron fan and enjoyed the game despite dying 40 times straight to wall jumping. Recompiling program, importing backup. Best of luck, berlindude1, and fight for the user.
Don't worry, we've all died more than 40 times. So.
Same.
We also have $10 from Tina Hacks 112. Berlin Dude, it's been a blast watching you push this game and all the other games you speed run forward. Donation goes to Berlin Dude's Choice. Greetings to Germany.
Thanks, Tina. So, chapter 2?
Yep. Chapter 2. There's a lot in this chapter. There's a lot of differences with the routes between all collectibles and New Game Plus. Normally you would do crispy, clippy, shippy, jumpy, skippy. Good Eagle will correct me later. It's actually that ship that came down right there at the start, but you can't actually get the collectible in the bridge room if you do that skip. It's also really not marathon safe at all.
What is this guy doing sometimes?
I guess neither that jump is either, but you can go for it again.
It's fine. Just do it again, I guess. Normally when you're being diagonal to the wall, he actually has to do a wall run, but sometimes he does not want to. Normally this is a wall run. Sometimes he's doing other stuff. We don't know why.
Yeah, there's a lot of variant between jumping neutral and jumping directionally when you're on a wall. So here he's coming to the bridge room. And in here, there's one of the collectibles. There's several ways to skip in this room, but because he's also on new file, he doesn't have a convenient disc to do a different skip. So he's gonna grab the file here, and then he's just gonna activate the last part of the bridge, and then he can just kind of jump up onto it. Normally, you would have to hit 4 buttons in this room to activate the whole bridge, and then they tell you to walk onto it, but you don't really have to do that.
There you go.
There's the Abraxas shard.
And now just activate the button. And then we have a small bridge, and we are just using that small part to say goodbye. Thank you.
And there is another application of punching while mid-jump. You just get an extra extension from it, so he'll be doing that most of the run. That's also a sick jump right there. It's not frame perfect. I love to say it is, though, because it's way more impressive.
We're just refilling our specials, so because we're coming to a part where we need the specials later to destroy the tank, so we come to the first tank stack section soon. And yeah, this tank makes definitely a funny noise, but you will see and hear that later, I guess.
It's also awful right there. That tank will snipe you almost any day of the week.
Yeah, you have to wait here, if not you get sniped and perhaps kicked out of that room. And yeah, you do a lot of wall running and try to escape, and they try to kill you with everything, as you can see. A big block coming on our head. If you would not know it, you would stand there I guess, and then you would just directly die, because it falls on your head. And there's the tank. And he's moving, and that's actually good, because that makes it a little bit faster.
So here you basically just want to abuse your heavy disc slam.
And he's dead.
And also he got a level up there, and every time he levels up, it's actually going to refill his energy.
Yeah.
That's kind of one of the perks of New Game. Most people run New Game Plus just because you have everything, but to do all collectibles, you have to have a new file anyways.
And what we're doing here right now is this button glitch to be a little bit faster to the position. So you activate the button actually in the jump. Normally you go with the disc there and activate it, but with that you're actually faster and you can directly go to the tank. And let's have some fun with the tank. Let's clean the street.
Yeah, unfortunately, the speed of the tank is a little bit slower here, just because there's some upgrades you can get, I believe, as well as changing discs has some strange effects in vehicles in this game.
Yeah, since we are starting within a new file, complete new file, we don't have enough megabytes what we get because of the level up to upgrade our character into the position that this tank part would be actually faster. So the heavy disc has actually 50% speed up upgrade, what we cannot do because we have not a lot of megabytes what we can actually use to upgrade our character during that run. So we do the best what we can and just live with whatever we have.
There he actually got a level up for the bomb disc, which will be really effective later. Also, right about where those two tanks were that he just shot, there's actually like a cutscene trigger. And so you can actually just kind of veer off to the left here, and you just skip it. I don't know why, but you can just drive off that bridge.
Yeah, if you're too fast, you make a salto. Like your tank will just destroy, so you have to be careful there. But yeah, you skip the small cutscene when the bridge is like getting destroyed by a.
It's also worth mentioning, there's like some arrows on the ground. Those are just health and energy refills. It might be a little hard to know that, but in this game, to refill your stuff, you literally just run over the objects in the map so that you'll see health things on the wall, you'll see energy things on the ground.
Yeah. And that was the first tank part.
So now he's going to be moving on to the Solar Sailor. So it's kind of like a ship with a giant laser beam going through it. And here's some just normal enemy spawns. They're a lot more vulnerable to the heavy disc. There's like some specific enemy types, and those guys, it's always the heavy disc. So here there's like again, the giant laser beam I mentioned, just going through it. And it's actually on like a certain cycle based on like right when he does that like jump in off of that like ledge grab animation. So the laser is already kind of set, but you have to be really careful because it can spawn in, and while it's spawning in, you can start getting hit by its hurt box and just die, and you have to redo this whole room from the start of it. Yeah, he was good there. And this room historically took a while because it has 4 buttons in it, and you do all that to deactivate this laser. Then one day, he just thought, hey, what if we just like go up to the laser and just throw a disc? And you can skip the entire room.
Very fast, actually.
Yeah, it's so high octane. You don't have to do any of the content.
And now we have here the first black card.
The butterfly guy.
Yep.
So you have to be really careful because his attack can really just get you. There's also a collectible in this fight. So he wants to be sure to grab that before finishing it, otherwise he can't get that collectible. And then there's the enemy misbehaving with him.
The best quote of the game coming.
You are good. Come on.
Wow, you are good. Come on. So, chapter 3 coming to area. And this game has 7 chapters, just to inform you.
So here's a real good application of doing the jump punching. You're like way ahead of Cora. Normally you would be running behind her and following her, but just speeding past her right into the cutscene. And Argia is real interesting because it's kind of like a 2-part thing. There's another collectible right there. So this level is a lot of going into the city through just vast amounts of epic parkour. And then there's a lot of escaping the city through epic amounts of parkour. There's also a lot of skips in here with a lot of fun names, so I'll let you know when we get there. So most of this part is just parkouring in. There's a lot of just like leaps and jumps and grabs and all that. Now would actually be like a decent time for donations. He's just gonna be making his way over to the elevator over here.
You got it. We have $5 from Volk205. Good morning from Australia. I stayed up until 1 a.m. for the Tron Evolution run, and I have to work in 6 hours. Whoops.
Oh, God.
Good luck to all runners, and let's beat cancer. We've got $10 from Blanche Blue. Shout-outs to our boy berlindude from Germany. So proud of you. You are the best. Best of luck for your run. Smiley face. And we have a $100 donation from L'Envoyer. Good marathon and good luck from France.
Awesome.
Great.
Thank you, everyone.
So yeah, here we come to a part where the first time actually the collectible is a little bit more hidden.
This
So
is
you would
the Dark Souls of collectibles right here.
you never would knew that there is a
Run up that
collectible.
pillar.
Yeah, we are just using here the disc station to bring back our special attacks because we had been really low on them.
There are also a lot of enemies in this section where you don't really have to fight them, so you can just run past them. You can also like do this grapple section early. It's like a little weird with how they intend you to do it, but you can just kind of run on this thing, and as long as you're cautious to not get hit by it.
I wanted to. It's like this guy, this machine is like going forward and backward, and you actually have to jump at the right time so you not get hit. But it should be not a big deal actually. Yeah, it's a lot of platforming like you see, and we come to right now to the next bigger skip in the game.
So this is dumb fight skip that I found myself. I really don't like this fight, so I found a dumb fight skip. So you can actually just walk along. Well, first you want to hit the checkpoint, it's a lot easier. There's this glass right here, and you can actually just run along the edge here, and then you get into like some invisible ledges over here, so you're gonna wall run. Oh, he hit the invisible ledge. There's actually like a small invisible floor, and then there's an invisible wall right next to it that you have to actually jump all the way around. You can't just like land on it and then like jump over it. Otherwise, you'll wall run on the invisible wall and die, or you'll wall run beside it and die, or all kinds of variations of that.
He doesn't want to land on it. It's fine. We will try like 3-4 more times.
Yeah, it's a pretty good skip because this fight's really dumb.
It is, but yeah, we don't want to do like 3 minutes here at the same thing.
It's also like you're trying to navigate this invisible wall. So you see, he's literally just standing on an invisible floor.
And there we go.
And there we go.
Nice. First try.
Third try. So yeah, it saves actually a good time, like 15 seconds if you hit it first try, but it's actually kind of not hard, but like there's a very small platform what you actually only have, and if you look too far or too low, too short, you actually get not on that platform, and then you have to jump around an invincible wall. So it's like not so easy that setup, but yeah.
And here's the big snipe. Whoosh. Every time.
Easy going.
And so he's just making his way to the like next major area. There's like a pattern here. There's just going to be a lot of like running, parkour, and there will be a fight. So this fight he's going to kind of rely on the enemies being grouped up in one section. He now actually has the bomb disc. So you see that right there. He lands that and it just blows up. And it works great with groups of enemies like that. You can also do the different combinations of attacks. So you could do a ground slam of it. Then there's also those guys there. They have kind of sharp backs. We like to call them the katana guys. Those ones you always want to use a heavy disc on. So you got to make sure you switch to the right ones, and you'll throw an attack. It won't kill one of the enemies.
Yeah, they cannot be killed by or destroyed by the bomb disc. They always jump away. So that's why we have to do them with a heavy disc. And yeah, like JB said, a lot of platforming. Let's see if we get the early cycle here with the laser. I will try to make it faster than...
The lasers can be pretty brutal no matter how much time you spend here. It's not even RNG, but it probably is. So there's a quick jump right there.
Yeah.
I'm always worried. Oh, it can clip your feet. It can clip like every piece of your body.
And here we have a room what we can actually soft lock if we are killing the enemies in the wrong way. Still not knowing everybody how it works and how it functions, that you actually soft lock this room, but hopefully we are not doing it.
Yeah, it just tends to happen. You do the fight too quickly, and you just don't see anyone spawn, or you see like there's this weird NPC glitch where you just see like a disc floating in the air, just walking through the room.
Yeah.
Oh no, did it happen? Please tell me.
No, of course not. Of course not.
You were scaring me there.
Nah. So yeah, the thing what JB just explained is like you hit an enemy actually too early or too fast, and then his body is not showing anymore, but his disc is showing. He's invincible, and you can actually not kill him. So you have to make a restart, use the last checkpoint, because if not, you would never escape the room.
So this is like the final like area fight of what I would call like RGO1 going into the rest of the city, because we're going in to see the queen of the city, so we'll be leaving after. So there's just a lot of like extra like weaker mobs here, and then they're gonna actually bring in drop ships. The drop ships always spawn the same types of enemies, so if he knows what discs to have out, then he can know like their weakness and kill them that way. There's also just a lot of energy tanks, so it's real easy to refill before the next ship comes in. It's kind of set, so as long as he doesn't take too long killing them, then he'll be fine. He won't lose any time to it.
Now we try to kill all 4 with one shot with a heavy disc. Just signing up or here next to the recognizer is the name of this thing. They come out, they don't even know what they do, and then just boom.
Epic.
Easy going. So, Blackguard again. Since we play any percent style, he's actually, like, it takes forever to kill him, so we just say, okay, jump out, bye, thank you.
It's really hard to deal with the AI in this game, so anytime you get a chance to just let someone backflip off super parkour style, you better just let it happen.
Yeah, and we had a talk with Radia, the queen of the ISOs, the special programs, what Kevin Flynn is trying to support and to save. And yeah.
Also here, it only lets you walk.
Yeah.
You can't run until you hit this tile on the ground.
Yeah, here.
And here, he's actually going to run to the right here. You're not expected to walk this way, but if you just jump over this wall here, the AI, like, is not there.
They're just standing there.
They're just standing there.
What is he doing? I don't know.
And then you restart checkpoint because it skips a small animation of that grapple point loading in. So now we're going to be escaping the city. We need to go find Gibson, who's in the game grid. If anyone's familiar with Tron, you know the game grid. There are some collectibles on the way out. Just going to grab one right there.
Yep. What are you doing? Yeah, sure, go on.
And then fight the controls of the game.
Yeah.
Hopefully let him get out of the city. And then here's actually another unique glitch. He's just gonna die. This wall combined with trying to do a grapple activates what we mentioned earlier is known as grapple glitch. You also have to avoid punching here while you have grapple glitch activated, and this is going to allow him to grapple off just into the distance here. He's grappling towards the enemies, but grapple glitch is really unique in the way it lets you grapple, and so he's able to just kind of gain height. And there's a whole fight there and all these crazy animations, and he's just skipped all of them right as he gets through the door here. And that was really solid. That's so difficult. You can like fall and die. You can have the enemies hit you. It's a really good job.
Had a good teacher. Shoutouts to Skull Gesetzen, body in Germany right now, commentating for the German restream.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who have just helped even with minor things. Taken interest in learning the route has really like helped us like look at things different ways. So shout outs to all the Tron community.
There's actually a way to do called early tank skip. We cannot do it because we have to take here the Braxa shard. So yeah, again, you forced us. So we show you more of the game.
Yeah, so there's just some switches on the wall here, and you just have to wall run on them. You don't even have to do it horizontally. You can do it vertically, and it counts. And once they're all activated, the door will open. Just like that, and that's perfect. He maintained his momentum to get to the exit there.
Now we come to the tank skip, straight to tank.
Yeah, so straight to tank skip, there's actually like a lot of extra map put in the way. You don't actually ever go to it, but the floor is still solid and everything. And that's what allows us to do the next skip, which lets us go straight to the tank. So it's gonna go up here, and there's a wall to the right here. If you just align yourself properly with the wall, you can jump over here onto this pillar. This is technically like unintended now at this point. And then you can jump off here, and if you get just enough distance from a punch, then you'll land on solid plane, and you can skip the rest of the level and just run beeline straight to the tank. So as you get over here, you'll notice it's a little glitchy. There's like a lot of floor not rendering in. And then if you just run right above this wall, you can get high enough to hit the trigger for the cutscene for the tank.
There you go.
So you don't have to do the rest of the level.
And that was early tank skip. Straight to tank. Yeah, we have a lot of minions here we have to destroy to force the game to continue.
So there's going to be some tanks flying in. He's trying
Just
to...
go over them.
He was trying to avoid moving. Sometimes it doesn't behave well. So there's going to be some ships, tanks flying in, and...
The recognizers, yeah.
Yep. And there's going to be some, like, guys, too, maybe. And, you have to be a little bit careful, because sometimes they can spawn, like, right above you, and then you're just getting, like, bombed from right above you, and you can't see it because of the camera, as usual.
This aiming system is so funny. Like, you shoot really far from to the right, and you hit them. And there was then invincible recognizer. We can actually skip him when we are staying here. And just escape area. And we are entering chapter 4.
Yeah, so this will be the next light cycle segment. This one's a little more busy. There's a lot more happening here. There's also a collectible here that's like, it's so hard to see because there's like all these bombs and everything drop in. There are some enemies that like try to ride up alongside you, like the movie, but it doesn't really play out like the movie, and they just kind of die like every time. They don't even compete.
So yeah, here's the first collectible. If you miss it, you directly hit a checkpoint and you have to start the map again. So let's see if we get it this time.
Yeah, you have to slow down a little bit.
There you go. Oops.
But unfortunately, slowing down in this map can also be your downfall because all these ships are coming and they're dropping bombs, and you actually only get a set amount of speed from the start of the level, so you can't ever actually like go faster than that, and you usually can't catch up to that speed with the normal acceleration that the game provides. So you really just want to get through the level without dying. Otherwise, you like reload checkpoint and you just have like things just dropping on you the whole time. But for the most part, he's just going to be taking one route. There's actually two routes that like they look very similar because they're very small diversion, but he'll just be taking the safer path. Like right here, it's a lot easier because you don't really have to deal with those tanks or anything.
There was a very hidden Tron file. You would not see it if you would play it casually. You have to be exactly in the middle with a... You can do it with full speed, but it's very risky. So we actually took a little bit speed out. And now we just try to avoid to get hit and use the mechanic of the game when the bridge is destroying and... Quick.
Yeah, it's right here. This is the death point right here. Like, you hit that checkpoint, you get hit by something, and then you reload checkpoint, and you're just stuck here forever.
Yeah, that's right. 3-4 times you have to try to start again, but you always get bombed. And we are heading to the game grid, and we have some auto-scroller incoming. Definitely a time to read donations later. We will let you know. But yeah, we tried to save Gibson. He was actually helping Kevin Flynn, our user, to escape, and we have to free him. And we free him, what we are skipping later, but instead we have to play the game.
Yep. If you've seen the movie, it's very similar despite this taking place before the movie. It's like almost one for one the same events. But here he's just going to pick up some upgrades with the megabytes he's gotten so far. And it also is going to refill his energy for the enemies in this section. So in this room, there's 4 buttons. You need to activate all 4 of them to open the elevator. And the buttons are not there yet. So he has to activate like this first fight here. After killing these enemies specifically, it will activate the first button. There's some other enemies in the room, but it doesn't matter if you activate them. So there's one button over there in the background. There's one right here. It's more convenient to do right here.
And you have to activate all 4.
And so it looks really simple, but it's very easy to die here because they put a lot of weird angles that like just do not work well with the gameplay. So you'll end up like trying to do a sprint jump to cross a gap, and you won't make it because you literally can't, or you'll run along a wall. So he's doing a pretty good job so far.
Yeah, like we already said, the camera is actually the biggest enemy in the game, not the enemies itself.
Yeah, right there he couldn't really see the button, but there was a button off camera there. He hit. Now he can go into the elevator, go try and find Gibson.
Yeah, also you see that the character is actually green, but in the cutscene it's blue. The original color is actually blue, but you can actually change it in the settings, and we just change it because, yeah, I like it more in green. Here's a collectible, actually, also hidden. It's not easy that you're seeing it every time.
Yeah, I don't know if they expect you to just kind of like run past it, but they also don't really like hint you well to like know you should be collecting them. Besides like if you pause at any point, but you don't really have much reason to pause when you're playing through the game.
And there's Gibson, the green guy, telling us something. Skipping, of course. And now we have the auto scorer.
Yeah, so just to summarize, basically there's just going to be a lot of fights. There's going to be a lot of Clue talking. He's kind of trying to rally all the troops together to kind of just overthrow the system. This is kind of like the pre-tail to what happens in the movie. So very simple fights, and you just kind of stand around, so he's just going to try and kill them as effectively as he can with his special. And that's it for the most part. You could read a few donations here.
We have like 1 minute at least,
Yep.
or 1.5.
Oh, we've got donations, don't worry. We'll take care of this.
Awesome.
We're going to start with a $25 donation from Princess Asu. Hey, Berlin dude, sneaking out during work hours to watch your run. Stay awesome and de-res Clue so hard so we can get some more Wonder Boy action at future events. Thanks for all the help with my own runs. Donation to Runner's Choice of incentive, if he has one, of course. We have another $25 donation from Theta Waves 90. First time I've been in a position to donate, and I'm happy to do so. Good luck with the runs, runners. We have a $10 donation from Yells Rake. Berlin, my super tennis brother in arms. So excited to see you back on the GDQ stage. Good luck collecting all the things.
Just to chime in here, like he can't speed this up. He's stuck here.
Yeah, I'm stuck.
Yeah, so go ahead, read a few more.
I'm good if you're good. No, we can keep this going. We had $20 from D-Pad Danny. Had to donate while my boy Berlin does the Tron thing. GL and don't get de-resed. The money goes to Berlin's Choice. We have a $10 donation from Seach. The game run at that speed is mesmerizing. Great job, Berlin dude. Let's beat cancer at that pace, and as always, greetings from Germany. We have a $100 donation from EMRS. Keep on raising money and keep on doing the video games quickly. Please don't tell my boss I'm watching.
Opa!
Oh.
Sorry. That was not on purpose. That was a button I didn't have to press. Continue.
You got it. We have a $5 donation from Beckman. I have not much money, but here, take my $5. So proud of berlindude1. He made it to the AGDQ and helps with his run for such a great cause. Greetings from Germany and special greetings from the Rocket Beans community.
Nice.
You can do a few more.
Oh, I got you. We have a $15 donation from Mrs. Torn Apathy. Good luck on the run, Berlin. The Torn Apathy fam is cheering you on. Awesome to watch you and to support a great cause.
So we finished the game grid, and now we are going to chapter 5.
Thank you for clarifying that you finished the game grid and not the actual game.
Oops.
So this is the Colonel. It's like one of the most notorious levels just because it's really long. There's a lot that goes on here. So there's a collectible he has to pick up early here.
Yeah.
But there is a major skip that was actually found like fairly recently in Tron time, you know, like last maybe 6 months or so. So just to go ahead and start explaining, well, he gets where he needs to be. There's a fight at the basement here where you meet up with Gibson. It takes like, I want to say 3 hours, but probably like 5 minutes or so. And you can't really speed it up too much. So he's gonna grab the collectible here, and then he's gonna do this new trick called targeting glitch. So there's certain walls in the game where you can lock on using like an enemy lock on.
First try.
But right at the wall. Oh, perfect. And then you can navigate out of bounds, and it's almost there.
And we got it.
Perfect.
Aye.
So that like saves saves, like I said, like 5 minutes or so. It can really like take you a varied amount of time depending on how the enemies behave. And that was us looking for that for probably 4 years or so. So it's amazing to be able to see that skipped.
Yeah, there are a lot of enemies you have to fight before you're actually going to that exit what we just saw. So luckily it was found. You also have to force yourself to don't speed up there to climb up, so it's like a little bit slow it down. Yeah.
So in this room, it's just kind of a basic fight. There's going to be a few floors like this in the kernel as we make our way to try to get to the main point of the kernel, which is the kernel. So there are actually some new enemies that we skipped before, so you haven't seen them yet. There's also a collectible in the back of the room. We like to call them yellow guys. They look a little different from the other yellow guys. They have kind of like a helmet. I think they're like specialized infected or something like that.
Yeah, they're more infected, correct.
They actually require using the stasis disc, which we haven't really had to use, but specifically for them, we have to throw it, and it puts them into slow motion, and then you're able to actually kill them. So there's one of them. Stasis disc into an attack or whatever disc you might have after. And this part's just kind of waiting for the waves, but there will be a skip for the next room coming up. Make it a little bit easier.
And these enemies are always like spawning on special parts. And you just try to, of course, kill them fast, but sometimes you don't have enough special energy, so you have to kill them in a normal way or wait until the special energy is again possible to refill. Also, what we see every time, like you're finishing whatever the camera in a special part, and then you start again the cutscene, and you think it's in the same spot, but then it's actually in a completely different spot. So you think you have just to run forward, and then you actually would run into the gap if you would not take care.
Yeah, they force a lot of camera angles, especially in this level, like right there. They forced it on him.
Sure. And yeah, the camera is actually much easier to handle when you're playing with keyboard and mouse. I'm actually playing on a controller, so...
And right here, that's KDEC skip. You just run along the wall there. You skip it. You don't have to do that side of the room at all. Despite not being able to run along like those infected walls, you can just run along them, and it lets you. And luckily, everything we have to do in this room only is on this side, so he's just going to clear out the enemies on this side, and then that will load in a button for him to unlock the door. That way he can proceed to the kernel.
We use the bomb disc most of the time because it has a lot of range and kills many of the enemies directly.
Yeah, the bomb disc ground slams just has like a really nice AoE. A lot of the specials actually kill in this game, but it's kind of dependent upon the situation. So sometimes it's faster if you can just do like a sprint throw, but other times it won't kill, or you just don't have like the right grouping of enemies, so you switch to like a bomb disc slam. So here's just more parkour. This wall is terrible. It just fades on you, you fall out of the map, die.
Yeah, it takes actually a little bit practice to get that. Sometimes the camera is actually moving also during it. So yeah, getting it without any problem takes a little bit of practice, but...
So this room is kind of like one we saw earlier. However, it's set specifically in the order that the door has above it. There's a few cutscenes, like tiny cutscenes in between each activation of it, and sometimes you can't activate them on top of each other. I guess we'll see if that happens. It's not a big deal if it doesn't happen. It's kind of just how this room works. Oh, he's like right at it too.
And that was the camera what we were just mentioning, like, okay, completely on the other side. Also, when you activate a button, some of the enemies are actually despawning because it's like the form before. So yeah, I just clear my way a little bit out here so they're not interrupting me. And it's the third button, killing that guy, going to the fourth. And mostly, when I'm about to reach the third one, you should have killed most of the enemies. There are actually some more in the behind.
Yeah, this room specifically checks that the door has all of the wall buttons activated. and it also checks that the enemies are gone, and then it decides to load the next section, because this is actually like loading a different area of the map. So right there, the bridge is now loaded. And you can go
We were
across.
completely on the other side. That was funny. Get across that bridge. The bridge is moving fast. So, Gibson, we see him first time actually with us, and now we are escaping Abraxas. Coming to the next skip.
Yeah, so Abraxas is back, of course.
Of course, always.
He will be back many times. And he's just trying to chase you to the kernel. You're trying to get to the kernel to stop him from taking it over, because that would be really bad for the system. 'Cause he's basically like a computer virus, so like if you hate that like ad in the bottom right of your computer that keeps showing up, like that's Abraxas. And he never goes away, keeps showing up all the time.
Yeah, and we're using again the punch running combination to be fast. Normally you would never see Gibson when you would just run. Yeah, we're gonna come down to a big skip. What is luck?
Yeah, so in here, the room actually only checks that you activate the button at the top, and you're supposed to use the other two buttons to like maneuver platforms so you can get up there. But if you can just get up there, you can just activate that single one. So he's gonna go for a jump here. It's a little weird with how the angle is, but if you do it just right, you'll get a ledge grab. I think he can go for it, maybe.
Oh,
Again.
why is not doing that? Arnon, do that. What you have to do. Too
Ooh.
low. No, that's fine. It's like kind of tricky. Need enough high. Have to do it very late. And there you
Yeah,
go.
right
Third
there. There's
try.
the ledge grab.
Like I said, it's pure luck.
And then he can activate or deactivate the kernel here. And then you reload, and it skips a long elevator cutscene.
Yeah. And we have to fight these guys, but on the left there's a collectible, so since we have to collect everything, we are just going first to the collectible, taking it, and then killing them. If they let us.
Yeah, these enemies really like to misbehave in this section, especially with Gibson running around. They like don't know who to hit.
Yeah.
So here, we're gonna come across Clue's bike, and we're just gonna rip it from him. I don't know where he is, but just kind of take his bike and leave. This section's also really difficult. Like the bike is a little bit faster than your normal one. As well as there's just all this stuff falling. The map can get really laggy. There's a lot of these walls that just fall in front of you, especially if you're playing this casually. Like, you'll just have a wall fall in front of you, just kind of bump a wall and die.
Just die.
Yeah. There was that collectible you got back there.
Yeah.
And then you're really just trying to meet up with Gibson here, so I don't know what path he decided to take, but you don't really see him here until the very end. He just kind of shows up. And then that's going to lead us into a fight with Gibson. So just to explain it now, since we're going to skip the cutscene, right here, Abraxas just like grabs him up and just infects him. He's not fully taken over by Abraxas, so he has some phases in this fight where he's vulnerable. So to start out the fight, he's trying to spread the pain, and Berlin's just gonna use this time to
Yeah, it's like
collect stuff.
we are forced to see some cutscenes in an amount of time, and since there are two collectibles, we actually catch them before we have no more time.
So now he's vulnerable, and now he's not vulnerable. So you gotta wait another cycle for him to become vulnerable. You can even just like let him hit you here, and he just like won't do damage, because if you're holding sprint at any point, then you just dodge it, and he doesn't do damage.
Yeah, we want him to be in this jump animation actually, because if he's doing that in the second form, you can actually skip this falling down, what you see right now. So if you get him in the air when he's trying to attack you, in that moment when he's get vulnerable again, you actually save like 3 or 4 seconds because yeah, he's directly going into the next phase.
Did the music just go away?
Yeah, it's normal.
Yeah, I've never seen that happen.
Really? No, it's always like that. Perhaps it's my version. But I never had here music. So, he didn't want to jump. And now we come to the next phase of this fight.
Do we have time for a quick donation?
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
We have a $1,000 donation from DFib.
Wow.
This is for my son Tom, who lost his battle with cancer last March. He was an avid gamer. I miss him.
Shoutouts. So yeah, we're fighting here this course. We have to fight these first before fighting the enemies. It's like 3 phases. We have these guys who explode just.
Yeah, so typically how a lot of the fights are structured is there like are several cycles of similar things. So now he's kind of going into like his ad spawning phase. So he's gonna run into these health recharge stations and then he's gonna spawn in enemies. So we got some more green guys here that we have to use the stasis disc instead and then bomb. He's gonna take over all of the ones in the room, except for the one in the middle, I believe. And then we'll go on to the final phase, where he's just vulnerable.
Yeah.
But you have to be a little bit careful here. The enemies can really just like misbehave. They're spawning in so many different spots that sometimes it's easy to miss them. Some spawn on the bottom floor, and so you'll hit the top floor. Actually, he was able to hit the bottom floor there with the bomb disc range. So that was actually a really good way to clear them out there. And now he's just entirely vulnerable, so now you just kind of go to town, hit him with whatever you got. Unfortunately, because it's all collectibles, he doesn't do quite as much damage. You can like one phase him, but I don't think his heavy disc does quite enough damage to
not yet.
fulfill that either.
Yet. We didn't have the upgrade, that's why. But
Yeah.
We had to do a route, and the bomb disc is actually the better one to be upgraded than the heavy disc, and we do the heavy disc upgrade in the end. And now we're coming to a cave.
Yeah, so this is kind of like the ruins, like the outskirts. We need to make our way back to Argia. So you have to kind of like go through all this like outlands area. There are a few enemies in here. A lot of it's parkour. So this is just hoping you don't jump into a precarious scenario where you just fall and die because the camera betrays you last second.
Like it loves to.
There is like a newer interesting skip where you can get on one of the roofs here and go like kind of out of bounds, but it's a little finicky to try to set up. There's actually been a lot looked into with this game. We've kind of just gone through like each area and just like looked for any possible thing. Unfortunately, that Gibson fight we couldn't skip, so we'll get back to the lab and start looking. There's an upgrade station right here, just to refill energy. And there's gonna be some guys showing up right around here. And you just kind of destroy them.
Bye-bye. See you. Oh, well, that was my save, my own curse, I guess.
You're not supposed to go with them, but maybe they get lonely down there.
Yeah. So let's do it again. The good thing about the game is like the checkpoints are very close mostly, so you're not losing so much time actually when something happens what was not intended to be happen.
Yeah. And then there's another section coming up. It's similar to a lot of those like activation rooms. So there's 4 buttons on the wall. Unfortunately, they're like all katana guys, and those guys just have like a sniper scope to hit you with. So you just have to activate all of them and try to get out. That was a really nice dodge. And now there's just some guys watching Clue's bike, the one that we stole from him. And then once we get rid of them, we need to make our way back to Argia. The city's like actually just getting destroyed right now.
And there you go.
There's a lot of exposition here, but like we don't see any of it. So here's the like precarious drive back to Argia. There's a health bar in the top right. It's not actually a health bar. It's more or less a timer. there is a point where you can die, but you don't really ever get that low on it normally unless you really take your time. You will need to slow down for some collectibles in this section.
Yeah.
But for the most part, that health bar still doesn't matter. It's kind of a set piece, so it seems more stressful than it is. Also, the bike is a bit faster still, so like they added a lot more curves in this section, and it makes it a little bit more difficult to navigate. Turning in this game is like, it's a little bit easier on controller, which Berlin is using a controller, but it's still like not like how you would want to drive any kind of vehicle in any video game. So usually you want to stick to the straight paths where you can. Unfortunately, they throw just a lot of random rocks like right in front of us at the last second.
And now you're just braking a little bit to collect the collectible.
Yeah, there's that collectible there. It's very easy to miss because they give you a ton of speed there, and you just have to like lose all your speed to collect that.
This Tron and Fire is actually about this character, Anonymous. So, yeah.
Yeah, they don't really go too in-depth on him, but you're just supposed to monitor the system from threats, so at the beginning of the game, Tron told you to like do that. And you're doing that, but it's clearly not going too well. It is to be mentioned in the movie, but it doesn't really get mentioned like very heavily. They just kind of like, this monitor saved me, and like that's about it.
One line. That was this nice program saving me from the purge.
Yeah, so now you see like the city in the background, so he's back to where it is. It's not actually the same map. You know, there's like always the theory of like, oh, what if we could just like wrong warp to the finished part of the map? But there are actually two different versions of Argia. So this one is kind of like more on the ground, more with the tanks. And there's just nothing but just disaster here. So
all destroyed.
he's gonna deal with the tanks here. After he destroys both tanks, it will actually spawn in his own tank. They can body you here, like they'll just snipe you and go about their day. There's that collectible here as well. It's very easy to miss that, especially when you're dealing with these tanks shooting at you. And then just reload, it speeds up the tank spawning in.
And let's clean the street again, I guess.
Yeah, so just to summarize it, all the ships coming through. We're actually trying to make our way to where we met Radia before.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of tech here or anything. It's just, again, point and click, shoot stuff. There's a lot more like ships dropping bombs, but now would actually be a good time for donation.
You got it. We have $25 from Hydronite266. I've been watching SGDQ and AGDQ for 4 years now. I'm grateful for what you guys are doing. I lost my grandpa 2 years ago to a rare skin cancer, and I'm grateful for everyone that donates, even if it's a little. From me and my family, thank you to everyone donating and everyone organizing this event. I also want to take a moment to remind you guys that we have a bid incentive coming for the upcoming run of Chippy from Scrublord. If you want to see Chippy beat the final boss of the game, Zolgan, we are a bit over halfway to that $3,000 bid incentive. So make sure if you're going to be donating, you want to see Chippy fight a really hard final boss to get that in before it's too late.
All right, so this section, there's the 4 buttons in the center, and you don't actually need to fight all of the tanks. If you fight all the tanks, it actually spawns in another cycle of tanks. So he just kind of like snuck around them a little bit, killed who he needed to without killing all of them. It just makes it a little bit faster. You can do like some cool shots there to hit all the buttons. You can go ahead with some more donations though.
You got it. $10 from Eldrick Mecca. I had to donate to GDQ for a great cause and to make Joe D'Amelia's Super Castlevania 4 run tomorrow that much more challenging. Good luck to the runners and excellent job to the GDQ crew. We have a $25 donation from David M. that just simply says, love me some Tron.
Same.
A $15 donation from Phoenix60. Go, 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 AGDQ. Love what you guys do, and thanks to all the runners and event staff who make this possible. And we have 2 $5 donations from Young Pop and Flying Toaster 0206 that are calling for a Tron train, or a Tron tank, if you will. So if you want to get on a $5 donation tank train, now is a good time to do it.
Please, no more tanks.
No more tanks. So yeah, we are finishing the last tank section actually, so you will not see any more tank section. And now we're going to...
Also, right here, it's completely set in peace that your tank blows up right there.
Cannot do anything about that. And here's the last upgrade what we're doing actually in this run. And we're good to go.
So there's just a fight with a lot of special guys here. Some katana guys. There's an invisible katana guy. You just can't target him. There's also some shield guys.
So there is a collectible, but it's not so easy to do the correct way. So what we're using right now is like trying to kill all the enemies. And yeah, these katana guys actually, they snipe you most of the time.
Yeah, and then there's that hidden guy in the background.
Yeah, he's coming right now, the black katana guy. You can actually kill him really fast just with the bomb disc.
Yeah, that was perfect. He actually has a really annoying attack where he stasis discs you, so you are in slow-mo and you can't throw anything.
Where's the last guy? Did he run away again? Yeah, he's always running away. Ah, there he is!
He sniped you from around the corner.
So, and guess what? Who we are fighting?
Another Abraxas fight. So this one's a little unique. So he's gonna start out. He has like this special animation phase. He also has just a hidden shard like right above him. I like didn't even know that was there initially. And there's also an extra Tron file on the wall. But after he has those, he can kind of deal with Abraxas now. So he's gonna go into this phase where he just does a ground slam. And then you can damage him, and you can just kind of keep beating down on him if you don't get him right, and that's now on to next phase. You saw him go entirely half health bar. So now there's all this rubble falling from the ground, and you'll see some spots on the ground for him to get hit. Like there, he just got wrecked. So he wants to ideally look for a spot and get him to stand right below it.
Like, you want to hit him in the moment when he's like there, then he gets hit.
You can still actually damage him. It's just not quite as strong as the rocks hitting him. But if you get his health low enough from the rocks, you can just kind of spam your heavy ground slam on him and it will do damage. The heavy ground slam actually does multiple hits on the ground, and it's just a lot more useful specifically in this fight because of how the Abraxas fight is with all the boulders and how his collision is. So there he's just like laying on the ground prepared to get hit by every hit from it. And that's Abraxas for good. Probably not.
Reminds me always of Sigma from the Mega Man X. He's never done. Cool, yeah, last chapter, chapter 7. We are about to go to the end of the game.
Yeah, so some of like the plot we missed is we actually saw Clue, who's like the almighty creator of the system, and he just kind of like blessed us, and it would normally turn our suit white here. It doesn't even always like work, but we still prefer going with green here, so it's gonna stay that way.
Yeah, the creator gave us a little bit upgrade, so it's more fair, he's saying.
So coming up here is ship, skip, skip, skip. So there's like this set fight in place, and you have to like kill all the guys before the ship moves. But you can actually use this ledge over here, and there's a small invisible box right there. If you special disc, you can stand right on top of it, and then you can just climb up and you skip that ship that's right there. And that's our third version of that skip. We keep finding more ways. Maybe next GDQ there will be ship, skip, 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 skip. And now we're just gonna make our way to try and get to the mothership by catching a taxi up here.
Also, these platforms here are very scary, so we always try to force to be in front of them. And now, in the ship... Oh, didn't want to get killed.
Yeah, so this is just kind of like the base where all the bad guys are and where Clue is and where he's sending all his troops from. So there are some collectibles here.
Yeah. And we are using a lot of things you already saw, like the grab glitch and everything, to skip some time.
Also, you absolutely cannot trust those grapple things on the wall. They're just like, it's just so sketchy trying to like jump between them because it just goes from one to the next. So coming up here, he's gonna do another grapple glitch. And this is so he can do what we like to call grapple swag skip. So there's these enemies in the fight, and because he already has grapple glitch, what he can do is he can grapple towards them, but because he has the grapple glitch, he can just kind of skip over to the next area, so he skips that fight entirely.
You will see also that the guys we just skipped, like there's an automatic cutscene always coming up when we are killing some of these guys. So
Yeah, so right here, it's spawning guys in the fight before. It's just a weird glitch. Those guys just kind of stand there. They don't really do anything for the rest of the run.
they just watch what we are just doing, like how we fight everybody.
Some say they're still standing there to this day.
Yeah, just one more guy, a katana guy, always loves to run away. And now we have just buttons here. Oh,
That was a cool jump.
not intended.
And as usual, he just goes for button glitch because jump and activate are on the same button, so you might as well jump towards it and try and activate it. It skips that animation. You'll see some more of those in the final fight as well, so it's really important to keep that button glitch in mind.
Now we're coming to the biggest skip of the game.
Yeah, so this is known as end of the line skip. It skips like a majority of this level. So he's going to activate another grapple glitch here. And this is going to make it so he can navigate through certain sections of this area. There's this big conveyor belt here. He wants to avoid doing the punch because he has the grapple glitch, which is why he doesn't attack those guys. And now he's gonna walk along this big conveyor belt, and there's actually certain sections of this conveyor belt are not intended to be like walked through. So like he can walk here, but they don't actually expect him to go anywhere if he decides to walk over here. But because he has the grapple glitch, he can actually bypass that. He has to be careful of these bomb delivery things though, because if you get caught on them, they have a huge hitbox. So there he's gonna use grapple glitch, and it's gonna actually let him bypass that small wall that was on the conveyor belt. And now he can just kind of proceed as normal. You would normally come all the way from back there in the back left side. It's a little hard to see, but I promise you, there is a lot more to this level. You'll just have to trust me on that because we're not seeing any of it. And here you can just run against this wall and, oh, go for it again.
I try.
Yep.
There you go.
You just run against that wall, and now you're not really in the intended parts of the map anymore. I wouldn't call this out of bounds because the developers made this entirely solid. I think it's because the bomb carriers need like a solid plane to traverse across the map. But right where the bombs are actually spawning out of, there's not actually a real wall there, so they're just coming through like a fake wall. And you can jump through it and skip most of the level here. You just hit a cutscene here and you're on the light cycle. It's as if you killed all of those enemies, so great job.
If you would not have intended in the first try, you will start again from the beginning. So where we just started with the grabber glitch, so you would have lost like a minute or
Yeah,
something.
that conveyor belt's really long.
Since there's no cutscene, you actually no checkpoint you can actually hit. And now we're just passing these recognizers, and we're about to enter the last fight.
Yeah, so that's the last light cycle. And this will be final boss fight with Abraxas. But first, Clue's gonna send his guards at us. And he just kind of sends like each variant of enemy you've seen throughout the run. So he's just gonna kind of handle them in a similar fashion. They really like to spread out here, and they get like caught on those stairs a lot, and then your disc throws like that just get kind of jammed. Shoutouts to Disc Jam.
Finally, I hit this guy. Thank you.
So now he's gonna send some more guards. Maybe these guys will go off. No, they'll just die. Okay, cool. These guys you could also try. Sometimes you can get them to backflip off. Maybe.
Yeah, sure.
Oh.
They're dead.
Oh, okay, cool.
No worries. There's just 2 more guys, this guy, and then there's one more guy, what we don't even know. Here, we cannot see him, the katana guy. And now, let's do it.
So Abraxas is back for the final time. I promise you, it's the final time.
This time it is. Hopefully.
So the way this fight works is he's gonna go and activate each of these like individual energy siphon cores. After you break them, you need to activate 2 buttons to cause the middle one to surge. And then he's gonna move on to the next one. So he's gonna do all of the 4 on the outside, and then he'll go to the middle one. So there is actually a trick to speed up this fight a little bit. After activating the buttons there, he's gonna wait till he gets the checkpoint for that section, and then he's gonna jump off the map, and that's actually going to cause Abraxas to start in the like closest spot he would spawn in. So he's already over at the next one, ready for us to just destroy. And now again, back to buttons. This is why like button glitch is like very interesting. So there's like the full animation, but button glitch can actually work in like a variety of ways. So he can jump to button glitch, but you can also target enemies as well with grappling. And here he's gonna do the same thing. He's gonna jump off after getting checkpoint, and Abraxas will start closer than he would before.
Yeah, we're doing only these things in the first 3 phases, because after that it would be slower actually, so...
Yeah, actually the fight can soft lock if you do it too many times. If you try to do the reload from checkpoint strat, then it will just, like, he just won't go anywhere.
So you hope just he's like close to the 4th one. What is here in the top left. And he's really close, so he was actually doing the right thing. So he's going to that core, what you just see in the front. We just have to wait until we can refill our charges again, our specials, because we need them actually for this.
Yeah, it just disables all energy stations. They just want to make the fight take as long as possible. Especially with like just how little energy we have with a new file.
Yeah.
Especially they also like empty out your energy siphons here intentionally, so there's really no good way of speeding it up.
Now we have like last hit incoming. You should be ready for the timer. But
I'll let you know when it's time. So what's gonna happen is he's gonna try and take over the middle energy siphon, and Clue's not happy about it.
You overload the drive.
And so you're gonna see like 4 lights try and connect to the 4 outer pillars, and then once all 4 of those are linked, that is when he is able to hit it. And once he hits it, confirmed with the disc, that would be time.
So you see like 4 connecting right
So
now.
coming up on
3
it.
seconds, 2, 1, and go.
Time.
Time. So we're just checking right now, because of the incentive, if we got actually all collectibles and all Abraxas shards. And we did it.
Yep.
So the incentive is complete. And we are done with Tron Evolution.
Nice job, Berlin. GG.
Yeah. Great run, man.
Well done.
Just a quick second to give shout-outs to the Tron community. This is all a community effort. It's taken just many years of, just discussing with each other to find all these cool glitches and so many like obscure tricks, especially for such an obscure game. So if you're interested in Tron and you really want to just help us with the run, or you just really enjoy Tron, feel free to stop by. You can go to speedrun.com/Tron. There will be a Discord link. Also, shout outs to some of the community members: Berlin, Good Ego, Glacial Thaumaturg. They were early runners of the game. There's also several other people who just decided to like give it a try. There's Wyatt, there's Dasiex, there's Elix, there's several other like German runners. Sorry, I don't remember everyone's name, but they're all on the leaderboard. I promise you, they've all done a great deal in this game. It's been very helpful, and thankful for all of them.
Yeah, shoutouts just to all the people who let me also come here, because we got some support. So shoutouts to everyone who made this happen. I'm very proud that I could show this run. And since we're on the schedule behind, I let you go forward. Thanks for watching, and continue donating to every part you can. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, berlindude1, for that really amazing run, and Jamacanbacn for some really insightful commentary on that really cool run of Tron Evolution. We have a $50 donation from Maricoid. Tron is one of my favorite movies, and this game looks like fun. Thanks to the runners and the staff for this awesome event. Thank you, Maricoid, for your donation. We have a $50 donation from Snoop229 that just says, AGDQ fights for the users. We have a $25 donation from Pliskin LD with no comment, but thank you so much for your donation, Pliskin. All right, we are going to throw it to a Twitch ad real quick, and I will be leaving the host station, but thank you so much. Stick around, we'll be back very shortly.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to Awesome Games Done Quick 2020, live in Orlando, Florida. My name is Sakura Subasa, and I'm going to be your host for the next couple runs here. Coming up next, we have Eagle Island, run by Mr. Dino023. And I am definitely really excited to see this run. I got the opportunity to watch a little bit of the practice sessions, and It is really cool, so I'm really excited to see this. I see we had a donation train going. So we had a $5 donation from Tech Kyle that says, train, train, choo choo. And while we're all getting set up here, I see we have a few incentives that we need some donations for. So the Chippy Fight, which is coming up in a few runs here, we are just over halfway. We are at $1,742.20 out of $3,000. So we need just shy of, I believe, $1,300 to meet that incentive. So get those donations in if you want to see this run. We have a $5 donation from Moth that says, here's a shout out to the dancers in the audience, always bringing positive vibes during the breaks. We had a $5 donation from Mishka Blackpaw that says, congratulations on 10 years. A quick shout out to our sponsor, one of our sponsors, Final Fantasy XIV Online. Final Fantasy XIV Online free trial allows you to play as many jobs as you want, up to level 35 with no time limit. Join a welcoming community of over 18 million adventures around the world. Live your own story as the Warrior of Light, fighting to deliver the realm from certain destruction. Change jobs freely on the same character and no need to ever reroll. Endless depth of content even outside of battle. Housing, crafting, fashion, the gold saucer, and more. I personally play that game and I really enjoy it. We had a $20 donation from Cafe Elia that says, good morning, GDQ. Hope the day goes great and keep that goodwill going. We also had a $5 donation from Just Aloe that says, another